Okay, so today we're going to be creating this little 6x6 box that you can use as either for photos or as a gift box. I'm going to use it to give away some Christmas treats. So it's really quite a sweet little, very simple to put together, as you see by the length of the video, and super fun to make. So once you pull off the lid, it flips open into a sweet little album. And you've got lots of space for photos and etc. I'm not going to go through this in gross detail. I just want to quickly show you. You've got some flips and flops here and there. If you go to the end of the video, I'll go in a little bit more detail about some of the design and decorating I've done here, but I just wanted to show you what you're signing up to make in the next half hour or so. So I hope you like it, and let's get started. Okay guys, so here's the materials we're going to use for the exploding box or cookie container or gift box or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be using just some plain cardstock. So I'm using white as the base for mine. This is just plain 80-pound cardstock, 12 by 12. You're going to need about 6 sheets of this, whatever color you choose. And then just a 6x6 paper pad. So I've got 2. I think I'm going to use this Christmas cheer one because I'm going to make this for some cookies I'm going to give away. And so I really like the little patterns on this one, but whatever 6x6 pad you have, because this is a 6x6 box, so it'll be easy to decorate. Then of course the usual suspects. You'll need your scoreboard, your cutting blade, and then some double-sided tape. And I always use this Suklal or oh my gosh, I forget what the other name for it is, but anyways, this is the double-sided tape that I use, and some liquid glue. This liquid glue, again, this is your first video with me, I always use the same liquid glue. It's the Art Glitter Dries Clear, and I just transferred into the little bottles just because I buy the largest bottle just because it's the best value. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is cut out the base for this little box. And really, this is so simple. I think in total we cut about 8 pieces or something like that. Anyways, not a lot of pieces to cut because it's just very, very simply built. So actually, I think I made a mistake. Probably 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 pieces that we cut for this. So anyways, grab your 12 by 12 cardstock, and the first thing I want you to do is cut a piece that is 7 by 7. Okay, so this is going to be the base, and even though I said it's a 6x6 album, it's actually, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch all around so we can attach our side walls to this. So go ahead and cut that out at 7 by 7. Okay, and then what I want you to do is score this at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay, so my blade also has a scoring blade on it, or a scoring tip, so I don't have to switch back and forth. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm scoring each side at 1/2 inch. Okay, just turn around and score again. Okay, so now we've got all 4 sides scored. What I'm going to do is cut across the corners here. So let's just cut those corners right off on all 4 sides. Okay, and then just fold them down and get your bone folder out and just go right along those edges. Okay, so that's, we're attaching the sides of the box to these little fold-up pieces. All right, next we're going to cut the side. So let's just set that aside for a second and bring this back. I'm going to grab some more 12 by 12 paper. So for the sides, you're going to cut 4 pieces of 12 by 6. So you'll need 2 sheets of paper, just split right down the middle. So there's 2, 12 by 6, and 2 more. And here. Okay, and now each of these you're going to score at 6 inches and at 10 inches. Okay, so going to use my scoring blade guess it's not really a blade. So there's my 6-inch score mark and my 10-inch. And so this makes the side wall and pocket that we want. So do all of those 4 pieces at 6 and at 10. Okay, 2. And so normally, like what, if you recall, we build as we go in my tutorials. This one's fairly simple, so I'm cutting all the pieces first and then we'll start to put it together. Okay, now once that's done, of course, you get your bone folder and just go over those crease marks and fold everything nicely. So we'll do that. So I'm just going to fold along here. So see, I've got a nice this 6x6 piece, and then I'm going to fold this little pocket. I'm going to fold it the opposite way, and you'll see when we start to put this together, you can choose how you want the pocket to be, because we're going to glue these little sides down. Okay, so let's do the rest of these. So fold in, and then if you want to do one where the pocket is on the inside of the panel, you can fold it inwards. So anyway, this is all optional until we start gluing, and you can make that decision even later if you like, before decorating though. So I'm going to flip this one. I'm going to do 2 one way and 2 another. So I've got, just so you know what I'm talking about, when you attach this panel here, it'll be sitting up like this. It'll flip open, and this will be a pocket, and we'll have little things inside. Your other option is to fold it inwards, and then it'll look like this, and your pocket will be on the inside. So up to you. I'm going to do 2 of each. So on 2 sides we'll be flipping one way, and on the other 2 sides will be the other way. Okay, super, super easy. Simple little project. And fun. Okay, so those are all folded up. Okay, so let's start to put the box together. You can see here I've already started. So this was the base, and what I've gone ahead and done is started to attach the side panels. Okay, so there's the bottom of the box with the little flaps. So I've attached 2 already, and we'll attach 2 more together. You can use glue or double-sided tape. I use both to great success, so no worries there. But let's go ahead and I'm going to use double-sided tape now. So I'm just going to fold. So the way we're going to attach this is you're going to fold this little flap in and then attach your page like so. Okay, so we're going to get our tape down on this piece here. Okay, and one of the ways I like to stick the tape down so that just in case I mess up and don't line things up is I just fold down a corner like that and attach one edge so I haven't fully committed, and then hold it down, line it up, and then slowly pull the tape out from in between. Okay, there we go. Oh, there's a little bit of extra tape. This tape's a little bit wider, but anyway, this will be covered with pattern paper, so we don't need to worry about it. And then same thing on this side. So go ahead and do this on all 4 of your sides. And when we come back, we will complete the lid and put that on. Turn this around. Okay, you can use glue, like I said. We're just going to take that little extra bit off. Again. Peel down a corner. Just line that up, make sure everything looks good, and slowly pull that out. There we go. So that is our box, and we talked about that some of these pockets could be inward folding, so it looks like this when you open it, and the others outward. So I'm going to do 2 in and 2 out. So let's go ahead and glue those down. So just need to get glue along each of the top edges, sorry, side edges rather. to create your little pocket, which you will be able to put extra photos in and stuff. Okay, so I've got these two, and that will fold up. Same on this side. You can do these any way you like. In, all out, the way I've done it. Okay, so those are my two inward, and then these will have out. Okay. And you guys can't believe it, but we are literally almost done constructing this little box. Okay, all right, there we go. Now I'm just going to fold it up for a second and set it aside and bring back our base. So I'm just showing you, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to cut a square out of the center, of the lid. So let's start cutting the lid from scratch, and we'll do this whole thing together. Okay, so let's continue making the lid. So for the lid, you're going to grab a fresh piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, and we're going to measure that out to 10 1/4 by 10 1/4. So slide this up here. So cut out your square 10 1/4 by 10 1/4. Okay. And the lid is actually slightly bigger than the base, just so it fits on top nicely. But once you've done that, what I want you to do is then score, on each side at 2 inches. So score at 2 inches all the way around. So I'm just going to line that up on my 2-inch mark here. Go. So score all around at 2 inches. One thing is, if you just sort of start playing with your box now as it's coming together, it might seem a little flimsy. Once you cover all the pieces with patterned paper, it'll get a little bit heavier, and it works out just beautifully, in case you were thinking about that. Okay, so now I've got my score lines all the way around. Next, what I want to do is cut. I'm going to construct the lid in a second, so we're going to have to cut on both sides, just from the edge into the first score line. So just here, we're going to do it on each of the corners. So I'm going to cut one here, 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 and here. Okay, so you can use your cutter, or you can just use a pair of scissors. I'm going to go with scissors so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So I'm just going along the score mark that I made here. I'm going to flip it over because I can see this a little bit better. And I'm just cutting to the next score mark, because when we put the box together, I need that to tuck inside. Okay, so that's all you're doing. So here, we're going to do it on this side in both places. That's 2, and then flip it over, and let's just do the same thing here. Right along your score mark. There, perfect. Okay, just wanted to get that part done. The next thing, if you noticed, we have a peekaboo window. You don't have to do this, but if you'd like to, it's super easy. Just grab a piece of acetate. Oops, sorry guys. Just grab a piece of acetate. And I usually just save package covers. You can see here, this was on some kind of packaging. So I just saved that for just this use. And I'm going to put it here. So I need to cut out a little window inside the center square. So I'm just going to take out my little tape measure because I can't find my ruler, so no laughing. And I'm going to see like how far I want to cut in from the edge. So it looks like I'm going to want to go about 3 inches in from the edge. So that's what we're going to do. And so let's just take that out of the way. So this piece, if you measure it out first, it should be roughly, it's just the size of my scrap that my scrap happens to be, but that's about 5.5 inches. Okay, so I would cut out a 5.5 inch square out of acetate, and then we're going to simply cut an inner square that is 3 inches from each of these edges. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is take your paper, line it up at the 3-inch mark along here. Okay, and I want to go and start my blade 3 inches from this edge. So right here, oh, that's not my blade. There we go, 3 inches, right? And then I'm going to cut just to 3 inches from this top edge. Now remember, this is a 10 1/4. So really 3 inches is going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to be at a 7 1/4 mark, right? So I'm going to go from 3, I'm going to cut from 3 to 7 1/4. Okay, there we go. There's my first cut. And now I'm going to do this all the way around. So I'm going to flip the paper, line up the outer edge at 3 inches. So that's my 3-inch mark. And I'm going to cut again, start my blade at 3 inches. Okay, and cut up to 7 1/4. And then turn it. Do the same thing. You could, if you have a square die that you want to use to make this easier, you could run this through your die cut machine if you have one that's wide enough. This is a pretty wide piece of paper, so not sure what kind of machine you have. I don't have one that's that wide, so I'm doing it this way, but it works just as well. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm all the way up to the edge. There we go. Now I can pop that out, and we have our top of the lid, which I'm going to glue this acetate into the back. And I love it because then you can see what's inside if you're using it for a gift box, and otherwise it still looks pretty even if you're not putting anything in there because you have all your patterned papers inside. Okay, so what we're going to do now, and I just need to adjust my table here. Okay, what we're going to do now is let's glue the acetate down. And for this, I'm going to use my art glitter glue. I'm just going to go right around the edges, and mine you can see is a little bit messy because it's from a wrapper, from a packaging rather. So I will end up covering this up with patterned paper in here. When we get to decorating, I'll cover this all up with patterned paper, but for now we don't need to worry about that. We're just gonna glue this down. Okay, there we go. Oops, got a little bit of glue on there. But anyways, there's the lid. So now let's just fold down all of our sides and construct our box. So just fold down and crease along all your score marks. Okay, you want to make sure that you fold these straight. All right, there we go. Okay, there's our box. And so I want these little pieces to be on the inside tucked in so it looks nice and neat on the outside. So I'm going to just fold this down and put my glue right around the edges. Okay. There's that. And just do this all the way around your lid. Go. You guys, this has come together so quickly and easily. I just love it. And you can make this, you can adapt this to any size you like. I like this size just because it is, it's a good size for putting like a little bag of cookies in. Of course, all in your plastic wrap or in a little container, just so it doesn't wreck the album part, because you're gonna probably put some photos in here. But it's like you can use it as a gift box. There's so many things you can use it for. So it's really nice that it just whips up super quickly. Okay, so now let's test this out. So bringing back our box. So I'm just gonna grab the lid, and you kind of have to hold these up together. And once you've got the patterned paper on them, this just becomes a little bit easier. But okay, I'm just gonna grab that side. Get this all in here. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's not wanting to, this side's not standing up at the moment, but it will. once we get the patterned paper on it and the sides become stiffer. So there you go. It's kind of how I manipulated this little box. Okay, so that's how your little box will come together. So now we can go ahead and start doing our decorating on the inside. Okay, so we want to start decorating and just covering all of the surfaces with our patterned paper. So I've picked out some papers that I want, and I just wanted to share a couple of design tips as we go through this. I'm not going to have you watch me decorate the whole thing. So as a matter of preference, you can decide whether you want the paper to go edge to edge, right? Or if you'd like to leave like a little border around it, like so. So like just a kind of an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I love the look of the border, so that's what I'm going to do. This is a 6x6 page. So if you don't want to do that, you just have to cut off the little print thing at the top and just glue your page down. But if you want to have a little border, then go ahead and do that. So I'm going to cut these pieces. These are my 4 pieces for the inside of my box. And I've also chosen what I'm going to put in the bottom of the box in the center. So I'm going to use this paper and put this little guy on top. This is just one of the I think it's 3x3 or 2x2. What is it? 3x3 squares. I just matted this onto some white cardstock, and I'm gonna put it there because once we put the lid on, when the box is empty, you'll be able to see that down at the bottom. Okay, so you could also leave this plain and have it for photos. So if you don't want to put anything, any embellishments on here, you can just have this left and put a photo down there, but I'm going to be putting that on there. And I am also actually reconsidering. I am not going to leave a trim. No, let me decide, guys. Let me see how this is going to look. No, I am going to leave a little bit of the border. So let's move this aside and let's cut out the pieces for the walls. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. I've also chosen paper that's directional, so it does matter a little bit how they appear in relation to each other. So these are words going across. There's also words going across. I'm just going to make sure that when I put them in, they're all kind of lined up relative to each other, okay? The other way that you can do it is if you just want to have them kind of like oriented to the center of the box, which is another way. And actually, I think this is how I will do it. So just to take note that if you have any papers that are directional, that you want to orient them the right way. So I'm going to put them in this order. Okay, so I'm just going to move this to the side for a second and cut our first piece. So like I said, those are 6x6 surfaces that we're wanting to cover. And since I want to do a little bit of a border, then I'm going to cut this down to, I want a 1/4 inch all the way around. So I'm going to cut this into a square that it's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So that's going to be the size of all of my pieces. And like I said, if you don't want a border around it, just the white kind of trim, you just want it wall to wall, then you don't have to do this at all. So I'm going to cut all 4 of my pieces right now. So 5 3/4. And I'll just show you, I'll just put in one so you can see what that looks like and then decide for yourself how you'd like to do it. Okay, there's those 2, and then these 2. And I'm also going to show you a little trick if you want to add it in to keep the flaps closed. And that way, it's a method that requires no magnets, which I love because while I love the look and feel of magnets, they can get pretty pricey. And also if I'm using this as a gift box, like I really don't want to be spending a ton on making them. I just want to make a whole bunch, put something in them and give them away, and that's it. So I'm doing this in a way that does not require magnets, but still is super cute. Okay, so let me just put these in. We'll just put these in now. So remember, we are orienting to the center of the box, and I've got my little 1/4 inch, sorry, not 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch trim all the way around. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick these down. So I think you'll probably end up using most of a 6x6 pad for this project. So again, I used this, oh, I can't find the cover. Anyway, my pad is a Carta Bella. Here it is. It's this Carta Bella paper pad. It has 24 pages in it. And so it looks like I'll probably end up using up most of that. Other things you can do, if you like, you can chalk the edges of your pattern paper. I'm going for just a simple clean look this time, but many times I do chalk the edges as well. So there we go. Just orient this towards the center and stick it down. And you can see how quickly, like once you do one and you get the hang of it, like you can do a whole bunch of these and in different sizes for your gift boxes. And then they have a little memento to keep with photos, etc. Or even like little keepsakes, could be tickets and paraphernalia you collected from a trip. Like you could design this box in so many ways. I'm just doing a Christmas one because it happens to be that we're coming up to the holidays. And so this is the paper that I've chosen. Okay, and then I'm going to complete one whole side with you guys so you can see how it all kind of will look together, and then you can kind of go off and finish decorating it. But I do want to complete a whole side because as I mentioned, I want you to see it come together and how sturdy it gets once you put the patterned paper down everywhere. Okay, there we go. There we are. All right. And now I'm going to do the one in the center. This one, I didn't actually trim it, but that's fine. I'm actually going to put the center one edge to edge because I like the way that looks. So I'll just get my glue down. Is everybody ready for holidays? Comment below, let me know, are you stressed? I'm trying to get this post up pretty early, I think, so that if you do want to make it for this holiday, you'll have it ready to go. I love the way it folds down because here's another thing. Somebody you might give this to, maybe they're not crazy about keeping it as a box, but they love the photos. They can, with some finagling, just fold this up and put it away and keep all the photos you gave them in a nice little spot without having to keep it as an upright box. So there's lots that you can do with this. I just wanted to show you that because some people might say, oh, you know what, like I don't really want to keep this box around. It takes up a lot of space and it's clunky, and you know, not everybody's a scrapbooker. I would totally keep mine intact, but just a note of what else can happen here with this box. Okay, I'm going to move on and we're going to do one of the sides, and so I can show you how we're going to keep this closed. And it's pretty simple. So first thing I want to do is just grab my patterned paper, and I think I'm going to use this snowflake one for here. And I'm just going to trim this down again because I want to have a little border, but I don't get too fancy. I'm just cutting off. I'm cutting this down to 5 3/4 just on one side because I have to cut it down further for here. But I know, there we go, that I want to have a bit of trim. And I just go in with my pencil and mark out where I'm going to cut that piece. So I'm not going crazy with measurements everywhere. Okay, so we're going to stick that here like so. And then we have this piece that fits in perfectly, almost perfectly, either here, actually put it down in this slot, and then you'll cover this with a different pattern. So let me just get this down here and show you the rest quickly. Okay, there we go. It's already looking super cute. Now I'm just gonna leave this for a second because I want to show you how I'm gonna keep this part closed, and it's really easy. So in my paper pack, I have a bunch of these little 1x1 cutouts. So I'm just going to pick one, take this little guy here, and I'm going to cut that out and mat it. It's important that you mat this. It needs to be a little bit sturdy. So let me just cut all of these guys out. Okay. And okay, so that's done. You're going to need to do 4 of these, okay? But I'm just going to show you this one for now. So I'm going to get my glue around there, mat that down. Go. Just gonna mark with a pencil where I'm going to trim this. Like I do this because I try to be a little bit low maintenance about these projects. There's lots to do over the holidays, and you just, I don't know, the less we can fuss, the better. Okay, now this, what you can do, and well, because I'm doing an orientation to the center, I'll put it here, but I'm going to just glue this down, or put some tape, double-sided tape, just down at the bottom here, and then this flap just can tuck right under there. Okay, so let me put it down so you can see how it works. And you do not need to use magnets. Now, you don't want to put your glue or your double-sided tape too high, so I'm just putting it down at the bottom. And peel that off. And I'm just going to center this. I'm going to eyeball it. You can measure if you like, but essentially I'm putting it about a 1/4 inch from the bottom. Okay, enough to hold the flap down, but make it pretty easy to flip open and then tuck back under. Okay, so that is optional. They will stay closed regardless. So even if you want to, even if you don't want to do that, the flaps will not fly open. They will sit a little bit like that. So it might give you some degree of trouble, but anyway. Okay, let's flip this over and do the other side. And so for the outside, I've chosen 2 patterns. Just kind of plain patterns, but I'm going to cut this down again to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And we'll have finished one side completely, so you can go and decorate that on your own. Just kind of pause the video and then come back to see, you know, the full finished product that we have, that I've decorated. But I did want to show you that little closure flap. Okay, so I'm going to stick this down. There we go. Right, and you can see now in comparison, this is a pretty sturdy little flap. Okay, so it's not going to fall in like they were before. And let's just get this, and I'm going to try to put the lid on here just to see. You need to have a wide hand, I guess. I don't know. You kind of need to do it all in one. So there you go. You can see how that is really starting to come together. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to keep decorating. You go off and decorate, and then we come back, we can take a look at the finished product. Okay guys, so here, while I study the camera, is my finished box. I just want to show you how I finished decorating it on the sides. This is all I have left from the 6x6 pad. So I'm sure I can cut these up, probably create some mats, some extra mats right here. But I just wanted to show you that I did end up using almost the entire 6x6 pad of 24 pages. But still a pretty economical little project. If you're giving this as a gift or even just making it for yourself. So here's how the box turned out. I quite like it. I think next time when I put these little pieces on the sides, I might center them down lower. I actually centered them so that they were in the center of the whole thing, but then when the lid is on, they're kind of cut off at the top. And you know what, that's not a big deal at all, but just a design note that I noticed after I put it together. So let's just start with the top. I have just fussy cut some of the little images from the paper. I don't usually buy the ephemera pack, and you can, but I find that there's always so much extra that you can definitely come up with your own bits of ephemera just by fussy cutting and cutting a few things out. I'm going to probably put something else here, maybe some pine cones, just to make it a bit more 3D, but I'm really loving the way this turned out, and I'm loving that you can see right into the box through this window. So let's lift this up, and ta-da! There's the inside of this box. It's so cute. I love this project. I hope you guys like it too, but let's take a look here a little more closely at what I've done on the inside. So if you recall, I said I was going to put this down the center so you could look down and see it, but as I was pulling it together, I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if it was a flap? So I actually have some space here for an additional photo. So I mounted this onto some more decorative paper and then made this little flap just by just by scoring like a 1/2 inch piece on the backing to attach it to, and that's it. So we've got space here. There's lots of space for photos in this little thing. On the sides, we did these 2 little tabs to tuck under. I want to show you something. You can have them that way, and if you don't like it, the other thing you can use those tabs for is actually just tucking in other photos, okay? So we've got this left and right sides are identical. I just made some little mats, more space for photos here and there. But like I said, you can either use them the way we had it originally intended, or if you don't like that, you can tuck little photos and have an extra space there. So I'm going to tuck that back in, and I did not put these on all 4 sides as we talked about. I just thought I really like the way it looks with just the 2 of them, so I left these alone. And so we've got the pocket facing outwards here and some more little cards in there, and then we flip open, lots of space for photos. Exact same thing going on over on this side. I just took one of these and folded it in half, so I have kind of like this little booklet. So we'll just tuck that in, and that opens up. And then let's take a look at what I did on the outside here. So I covered the outside with patterned paper, and I just mounted some of these little 2x2 squares onto some cardstock, and that's it. It was really, really simple. It's super cute. It has quite an impact. I'm going to use this for cookies. So I bake the holidays, so I'm going to give this as a gift to somebody with some cookies inside, and obviously I'll put the cookies in a little either a little Ziploc bag or a little square container that fits into here, but most likely a Ziploc bag just to protect my papers and everything, and maybe some tissue around it, and that's it. So we'll close this up, and we grab the lid. You kind of need to grab the lid and just there we go. Just got to coordinate a little bit, but that's it. Because I'm using it for cookies, I chose these very cookie-like baking embellishments, and this just says made with love and Christmas magic, and that is the project. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously I would love it if you would leave me some comments. I always read them all, and I try to respond to any questions you might have. Also, please remember to like my video and subscribe. I make these for free, and I'll continue to do so because it's just a joy and a passion of mine. But what really helps me is your subscription. So also hit the bell, and you'll get reminders of any new videos that are coming out. So guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope to see you with another video before the holidays soon. But for now, have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.